So we're going to switch the schedule a little bit. If you need to take a break, go ahead. But I'm going to have Ben take over before Jesse Cole and Savannah Bananas. I'm doing this because I want to make sure some folks have to leave, and Ben has a great message for us. He's also my brother-in-law.
All right,
so
appreciate it, man.
So he's got to do a little bit of running around because obviously he's got to set up the tech, put the microphone on. But I'm going to introduce him not only as my brother-in-law, but what I feel is a creative genius.
Now let's put this on your belt. I think it
He
was
has
going in and
run
out
the
because
network
of where
for
it
the
was in
church.
his coat pocket.
His business incorporates a lot of support for this community in many ways, which I'm very cautious not to explain, but let him do that because I'm going to get it wrong. But it's about supporting small businesses in the communication infrastructure, the computer infrastructure, the email, and he's now getting into what Henry just talked about, which was now you have that foundation of communication and networking technology, and we're going to level it up with bringing in that artificial intelligence content. So I'm deeply appreciative of everything you see here. That's essentially what's on the screen, the ability to have all this happen. Ben's been doing in addition to what we do in church to get that message out from a video and also network email. That's his company that's supporting that. And looking forward to having you tell us how all the magic happens.
I think so. Turn it on.
I would hate to have one technological failure.
All right, I'm good to go. All right. All right, thank you. So I'm actually not going to get too technical on y'all today. The networking that we're going to be talking about is more, personal and business networking. This is going to be an inside look at over 2 decades of networking and how it's impacted me and my business and my family. Henry had a cool slide on his presentation, the graveyard slide with all the brands that have died. The mine that gets me every time I see it is Blockbuster, because as a teenager, Friday night, go to Blockbuster, coolest new movies out on VHS, and you run up to it and hope it's behind the case so that you can rent it, maybe stop and get a cool video game to play over the weekend. And by the way, I was always kind and I did rewind all of my VHSs. So I'm going to show you a couple of other brands that are no longer with us. How many of you, a lot of you should know these 2 brands, BlackBerry and Palm, the BlackBerry and the Palm trio. BlackBerry is still kind of around, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But in 2004, I walked into a cell phone store, and my wife over there in the back, we just started our family. Y'all, a lot of you know Melaine, and Melaine was just born. And we just started our family, and pretty much every dollar mattered at that point in time. So we went to the cell phone store because I wanted to put her on my plan to save some money. So we walk into the store, she's getting set up on her little flip phone. I'll never forget, it had the ringtone, Beastie Boys, the song Girls, still rings in my head sometimes. But while she was getting her phone set up, I was playing with the latest BlackBerry and Palm trio that they had set up. And I started asking the sales guy, a good friend of mine now, Sean Nolan, hey man, asking him all these questions about these 2 smartphones. So as he was finishing setting up Lauren's phone, he looks at me and he goes, man, you seem to know this stuff. Are you looking for a job? Well, at the time we were both working in a restaurant. I was in the back cooking food for hundreds of people a night. And I immediately responded, yes, I am. I was ready to get out of the restaurant industry. But that one question that he asked me changed everything. Because you never know who you're going to meet. And that cell phone job was one of the best jobs ever. I did really, really well selling those same BlackBerries and Palm trios. Sean and his team taught me something really, really critical. We were in City Place and then Town Center. It's a pretty high business traffic cell phone store versus the other stores in the area. So you get all these business owners needing cell phones for their companies and their employees, and you never know who would walk through the door. So I figured how I treated them when they walked through the door mattered a lot. One of my first big sales was to a family that owned a property management company, the Whittingtons. And I didn't just sell them phones. I serviced them with so much detail and care to make sure that when they brought their numbers over from Alltel to AT&T, that they were going to have no problems at all. So I took real good care of them. A few weeks later, the father of the family invited me to go to eat at Ruth's Chris with him. I think that might have been the first time I've went to Ruth's Chris, honestly, but it's really where it clicked. He wasn't taking me to lunch to check on his phone bill over a $50 steak. He was wanting to build a relationship with me. And I became his go-to cell phone guy. And he started referring me, his friends that were business owners, to come see me to sell them their BlackBerries and their Palm Trios and their smartphones. I became this trusted cell phone guy in Baton Rouge for businesses. I positioned myself as that cell phone guy, and that really took me a long way because I always made sure that they were taken care of. I was able to start my business because of that. The person that invested in starting my tech company is a pretty big commercial real estate agent, and he would come into the store and I'd help him out. He would get a new BlackBerry, and that was back when you had to actually hook it up to this little machine. You put one phone on this side, one phone on this side, and you hit a button and it transferred all the contacts. Do you remember that? His took forever because he had over 15,000 contacts in his phone. And one day I joked and I said, "Dude, why do you have so many contacts in your phone?" He goes, "That is a metric for success for me, is constantly adding people into my phone. Because as a commercial real estate agent, if I'm not meeting new people, adding people into my phone, I'm not going to be making those sales that I need to be making." That really stuck with me. Thankfully, now all you have to do is turn on the new phone and all your contacts basically go into the phone. He ended up investing in starting the tech company. Not really a partner anymore. That partnership didn't last, but I felt that he had a lot of trust in me because I had treated him really, really well. So the first few years of running a tech company, it was a lot of figuring it out. The messy middle, right? Trying to get from point A to point B. I originally started it really just wanting to do mobile technology training and consulting. This was the year 2007. I got married. I started my company, and the first iPhone ever came out. That was a pretty big year. But mobile technology training became IT services. Then we started adding in web design. Eventually, we became what we are now, a managed IT services provider and a digital marketing agency. But I also had a big wake-up call. Owning a business and doing outside sales is wildly different than retail sales. In retail, people would just come walk through the door. I had this big brand behind me, and the business just came to me. Now, I had to go find the business, cold, no brand. So, what did I do? I had to learn a completely different game. In 2011, fortunately, I was able to have a really good partnership established with my business partner, Amy Dejan. Her husband's law firm was my tech company's first client. And I also sold them cell phones while I was in the cell phone industry as well. And we just clicked. We started growing together, but we knew that we felt like we were about to hit a ceiling. So that's when I learned I needed to get even better at networking if we were going to hit our growth goals. Because growth requires intentional strategy. This was a big turning point. Guy here in the middle, good friend of mine, Trevor Oblasundar. We were actually classmates at the Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts. One day I saw my friend Trevor. He owns 3 UPS stores now. I mentioned to him, "Hey, I'm looking to grow my business." He said, "Ben, if you're looking to grow your business and you're wanting to do it by getting good, high-quality referrals, you need to come check out my BNI chapter." So I did, and I joined it. And we met at Jubin's every single week. This is a picture of a new member getting inducted many years ago when I was a member in that chapter. I thought I was going to go have a good meal at Jubin's every Wednesday, and the referrals were just going to start pouring in. And I was completely wrong on that. The first year I did okay. I did about $30,000 in new revenue from the referrals. Not too bad. But I knew I wanted more. I decided to really embrace one of the main core values in BNI, and that's giver's gain. Instead of asking, what can I get from this group, I started asking, who can I help this week? How can I help the other members in my group? I stopped thinking transactions. I started building reciprocal relationships with the members of that chapter. That shift was everything. Fast forward a few years, in 2015, I actually got an award. This award was for the most thank you for closed business. It's a metric that we track in BNI. If you pass a referral and the member closes the sale, they thank you for passing them that business. And that year I had the most in the greater Baton Rouge area. Over $770,000 resulted from the referrals I passed to the other members in my chapter. Giver's gain. And you know what came back that same year? My tech company did about $250,000 in revenue. And I was able to start building that team. That was the biggest goal, build a great team. This is the team from our Christmas party last month. I went from solopreneur to a team of 10 people in just a few short years, not because I was a great salesman, but because I learned to give first. Give first, give more, give without keeping score. Now, BNI worked really well for me. The structure, the accountability, the weekly rhythm. But here's the thing, these same principles work anywhere. Chambers of commerce, other community groups, religious organizations, service clubs such as Rotary, industry associations. The framework doesn't matter as much as the mindset. I'll tell my team all the time, don't just focus on the transaction. People do business with people they like, know, and trust. To establish that, it takes energy. It takes showing up when there's no immediate payoff. But here's what I promised to them, and I'll show you. Building the relationship right, the transaction easily follows. So I'm going to give you a few tips. And you have a couple options. Like Henry said, you can take a picture of the next few slides. I do that at conferences all the time. I probably have more pictures of slide decks than I do of my kids. But I look at the pictures of my kids more than the pictures of the slide decks. So you can either take a picture of what follows, or at the end, I have a better way. This will be on my YouTube channel at some point sooner than later, and you'll be able to revisit it on my YouTube channel. So there'll be a QR code at the end that you can scan. So 10 ways to network better in 2026. Number 1, show up consistently. Pick 1 to 2 groups and commit to it for a full year. While you do that, focus on asking better questions. What's your biggest challenge right now? By far beats, what do you do? And you know what? People like telling other people about their challenges and problems, but it can help you identify how you might be able to help somebody. If I'm meeting with somebody and I say, what's your biggest challenge right now? And they said, well, the year just turned from 2025 to 2026 and my company QuickBooks are a complete disaster from last year. Well, that's an opportunity to connect them with a good bookkeeper or a good CPA. So those questions will give you the opportunities to identify how you can help others. This is one of my favorites. Listen more than you pitch, the 70-30 rule. Or I like the 2/3, 1/3 rule. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should use them proportionally. Follow up within 24 hours. This speed can show that you value the connection that you just made. Connect people to each other. Be the hub, not the spoke. Similar example to identifying that CPA connection. How do you connect people to each other? Add value outside of transactions. I always call this pre-sale value. I want to send you some articles that you might find of interest based on the problems that you're facing. I might give you some other insights to check out, or I might make some other introductions that would be beneficiary to you. Celebrate others' wins publicly. Give good social media shout outs when something great happens with somebody in your network. Give good testimonials if you've worked with somebody. Pass them referrals. Keep a give list. As you meet people, track who you want to help and how. Because it's not going to happen immediately. You won't be able to jump on that the next day or the day after. It might be a week or two where you can really start figuring out how you can help someone else. I love to send good handwritten notes. In a digital world, that physical card or thank you note can really stand out and gets remembered. And then finally, master the art of the soft ask. Do you know anyone who, fill in the blank, is less pressure than, hey, can you introduce me to this person? So, do you know anyone in the financial world that might be struggling with their digital marketing, their social media accounts? Like, that's a better question than saying, hey, can you introduce me to Suzanne at this financial firm? I've really been trying to get in front of her. So just how you reposition yourself can go a long way. In 2004, I walked into a cell phone store just looking to save probably about $30 a month or so. Stranger asked if I was looking for a job. That question taught me networking. Networking built my business. That business changed my life. Your next big opportunity might be sitting in this room right now. The question is, are you building relationships or just looking for transactions?